appreciate this. And yeah, Jean-Pierre, let me hand this over to you, and you can actually take it from here.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, guys. Welcome to another session. Um, let's have a look at this video. Quite inspiring guy that I recently discovered to see what he wants to have to say about minimum viable brand. And I think that's something we all can learn off and leverage. Having a solid brand and a perception in the market and a solid message is really important. So yeah, have a listen and let me know what you think. I actually don't think I've included the audio on my share, so let me just quickly do that. Now everything should be fine.
Hey everybody, welcome back. If you've been thinking about starting a business or some sort of a freelance practice or a consultancy or an agency or some sort of designpreneur kind of thing, but you haven't been able to take that step, you haven't been able to make that leap, I want to talk to you about something called an MVB, a minimum viable brand. So branding has a lot of moving parts, right? It has brand strategy, it has naming, it has brand design, it has communication, it has digital presences, so websites and social media. It has content and content marketing involved with it. It has marketing and communications aspects to it. Brands and branding is complicated. And starting a business or an agency or consultancy or a company of some sort can be really overwhelming when you start to think of all these aspects of branding and what it takes to actually get started. And a lot of people can be hampered by that. They can be stuck in analysis paralysis and just cannot get over that hump, that leap, make that leap to starting. And you have to understand that no business plan is perfect. And in a lot of respects, no business plan or no business concept is ever really done. In the software industry, there's a concept called an MVP. It stands for minimum viable product. And back in the day when software companies were developing applications, a lot of times they would spend, thousands of hours and millions of dollars developing an application in fully functional form. They would put it out into the marketplace, and then they would find out that actually there's aspects of it that people didn't use it in the way they thought they were going to use it, or it wasn't as successful as they were hoping it would be because it wasn't delivering what the customer actually wanted from it. And so over time, the software industry developed this concept of MVP, a minimum viable product. They would start with kind of a raw skeleton of an application, a barely functional application, and they would put it out to a test group of people to see how they used it, see what they liked about it. And they would change and iterate and build off of that customer feedback in order to build the application over time. They started off with a minimum viable product. Now, the concept of design thinking is very similar in the fact that you're building a product or building a service or building a company around observing what consumers and users really want and really need. It's establishing a clear problem to be solved and building the solution to that problem, and then changing and iterating and evolving that product or service over time. So kind of building off of that idea of a minimum viable product, I've kind of come up with this acronym of an MVB, or a minimum viable brand. Now, if you're building a business in the digital space, one of the amazing things about that is it's very easy to change things. In the old days, if you were building a business, you had to build a physical store, a physical space. You had to print up a bunch of physical collateral. You had to make a sign. You had to do fixtures. In the digital world, everything, right? So it's the wonderful and beautiful thing about building a business in the digital world is that it's very easy to change things. You can try things out, and if they don't work, you can change them in a blink of an eye. You can change it tomorrow. It's not like you have to build a physical new store or get new printed collateral made or just put a new sign up. Website copy, images, products, services can all be changed in the blink of an eye. So the great thing about that when you're starting a business is you can start with a minimum viable brand. So how the idea of a minimum viable product translates to a minimum viable brand is that you can start small. You can start with a single social platform. You can start with a what you see is what you get website. You can start with a single landing page, a single content post. You can start to get user and consumer feedback on what it is you're thinking about doing or thinking about offering in a very simple and immediate kind of way. You can build your business from a very small thought kernel idea that you put out into the marketplace and build and iterate and evolve it over time. So there doesn't have to be any reason for you to hesitate. You can get out there in the market and you can test and you can iterate. You can ask for feedback and you can listen to those comments and that feedback and use that to adjust what you're doing and change the product that you're doing and change the service that you're doing. You can use it to change the look and feel of your website or the functionality of what it is that you're offering, the look and feel of your branding, the sound of your verbal or written communication. All of those sorts of things, you can start small, take feedback, and evolve over time. So when you think about a minimum viable brand, actually no hurdle to get over. You can just go to market. You can put it out there. You can have the guts to take the step. And you can change it. The beauty of digital, you can change it overnight if you want to, and then you can move it into another direction. So think about the concept of the minimum viable brand when you're thinking about launching a business. You can take very small steps and get feedback and change and iterate over time. And if you do it this way, you don't have to be afraid of failing, because really, when it comes down to it, you're not failing. You're never going to fail. You're going to put something out there and you're going to get feedback and you're going to build it and change it. And you're going to build what people need from the response that you get to what you're putting out there in the first place. You don't have to be afraid to fail, because you're not going to fail. I want to leave you with a great quote from Tim Ferriss, who wrote The 4-Hour Workweek. The stars will never align, and the traffic lights of life will never all be green at the same time. Conditions are never perfect. Someday is a disease that will take your dreams to the grave with you. Pro and con lists are just as bad. If it's important to you and you want to do it eventually, just do it and course correct along the way. So that's it. I hope you like this video on the MVB, the minimum viable brand, and I hope you can put it into action in terms of getting that business that you've always wanted to start started. And if you did, please hit subscribe below so you can see my videos when they come out, and visit me at philipvandusen.com. If you need help with your brand strategy, your brand design, or your professional creative career, reach out to me and let's see what we can do to take it to the next level. And with that, thanks again for watching, and bye for now.
Cool, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I find him quite inspiring. I wonder if there's any thoughts at this moment from what he said. If there's anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I can continue with what I'd like to share with you. So I think what I would like to share.
Jean-Pierre,
Yes.
I think it's definitely pertinent what he said, because too many people are overwhelmed with this whole product and brand. So equating it to what people know in terms of iteration and that MVP that we've already been through already, definitely makes a lot more sense and easy to actually digest. So yeah, good video.
I also found it very useful. And I think, what also stands out for me is the fact that one shouldn't hesitate that much and think everything is perfect. I think you should have, if there's anything that you can go to market with, test and get feedback. I think that's really, really important to do. Part of the modules in Rubik's Cube is called brand positioning and minimum viable brand. Some of you might have seen this new layout. So what I've added here is also getting context. So with these modules, as we keep on building our ventures in Rubik's Cube, there are basically related modules. So I'm just going to quickly go through motivation, co-ideation, solution design, and customer development. So we all really know these. I think we've been through them a couple of times. So I'm just going to quickly go through them again, and just keep in mind that we are looking to build a minimum viable brand. So if we look at an MVP, I can just quickly read what the details say over here. At its core, minimum viable brand takes the nebulous concept of branding and turns it into something concrete and tangible for founders. Startups should consider using an MVP. With an MVP, you expend the least amount of time, effort, and money necessary to develop enough of a launch brand concept to center your organization, convey your value, and to collect learning. The components of an MVP is about purpose, people, proposition, product, and personality. So, I mean, if we could just quickly concentrate on that for a moment, it's one thing that I found quite interesting is that they say that it centers your organization. So it's almost like a moral compass, or like a way of doing things, or a culture. So if your brand is funky, and I mean Kalula, if we can take them as a great example, it just feels fun, and it seems fun, and it's almost like a nice balance of mixing fun in the workplace. So, mix of being fun and serious at the same time. So it's very important to have that brand, and I think it aligns people. And if it's exciting and it's motivating, then it definitely will be to the for the better of your organization. Obviously, what's important, it has to convey your value. You need to go out with your branding and tell people what it is that you offer, and very specifically how you offer it. And then obviously related to value, as we see over here, it's also about the product that you offer, your product and your services, and that should really come through. And then I think, as I said previously, what is really important, I think, is the learning part, and that's why it's a minimum viable. Minimum viable, just whatever you can put together to go to the market and to test it. Now back to the context part. There's basically 3 modules that's linked up with brand positioning in Rubik's Cube at the moment. So if we can just go through, just using another part of another browser to demonstrate this. Motivation, very, very simple. It sits on our motivation canvas, and this is here that people will basically capture their purpose, their MTP, massive transformative purpose, their vision, their reason for being, whatever you want to call it. But this is the motivation of what it is, and not really what it is, but why it is that you do what you do. So that's quite important. The other part is the core ideation and solution design. Now, we've been through this a couple of times, and just to reiterate, it's the same, very much the same story that we've been talking about in previous sessions. Once again, looking at your problems, these are once again the customer problems. So when you're thinking of a brand positioning, when you do your branding, you create that personality. You should always still keep in mind what is the real customer problem that you are solving. And when you create this brand, you should also the branding and the messaging and their personality, as the previous guy I've spoken about. You have to bring the solution in. How is it that you're going to address this problem? You will obviously have to look at your value proposition once again. How do we propose value to our intended customers? And so the story goes on, how we will deliver it, who the customers are, and how we will charge them for that. So I think all these things is just very important to keep in mind when you actually build your brand. It's not just about feel and cleverness and words and stuff. You have to be very kind of smart to have that feel, which is the brand, but also be practical about what you offer, and and how you address the problem and provide a solution. The other aspect over here that is our customer development, and obviously customer development, as we know, it's all around the value proposition canvas. Let's quickly get there, and it's all about once again those customer jobs. What is it that the customer needs to do? And then very important, coming back to what's been said on this side, over here about the product and the proposition. So once again, also very much related to your problem and your solution, but how you're going to solve it with these pain relievers and these gain creators. So all these things basically bundle up into how you're going to create your branding. So, you know, it seems it's actually quite an involved task to get the real message out there, because that's why copywriters have such a important job in business these days, is because it's really an art to craft those few sentences, those few words, to create that feel that still entices someone to buy something from you and to engage in your products and services. I think what is also important, if I can just quickly touch on that, is on our product canvas. So when we start populating our product canvas, we obviously have our market segments in mind, but we also have the journey that they're going to take along our while engaging with our products and services and with our organization, and not even just engaging. Every time that they see, as you know, the journey can be, I as a customer log into LinkedIn every morning to see the latest stuff happening in my feed, and there someone's organization pops up, and then immediately you get that feel, their brand, they speak to you. Do they make you laugh? Do they make you think? You know, what it is, whatever elements of their brand is trying to evoke. And I think then very importantly are these assumptions over here. So as we plot out our customer journey, and this is once again, let me just finish that sentence. As we plot out our journey, we're going to log a few assumptions of how do we assume our customer will interact, will think, will feel along the journey as they experience our brand, as they experience our product. And I think that's very important to take into consideration. And then just what I wanted to say on that is that, once again, as he said, experiment, learn as much as you can. Plot the journey, know about your customer. And if I can just add to that, he spoke about design thinking, and design thinking is all about empathy. And branding has got a lot to do with empathy. You want to make someone feel something. So empathize with your customers, understand their journey. Once again, understand their pain relievers. So their pains and their gains, and really be a part of their world. And then basically use that along with the feel that you want to create, the essence, the soul of your organization, and then come up with a minimum viable brand, create some content, and get yourself out there and get feedback from your potential customers. That's short and sweet, guys. If there's anything that you would like to ask at this point in time, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Andile, I see you've got your hand up. Please enlighten us with your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm glad that you spoke about the minimum viable product. Actually, last week, Tuesday, I was invited in Mpumalanga. One of the company that I met during my journey was the QP Drone Tech. So they were doing the minimum viable product and the value proof because they are into manufacturing drones. So it was a very good experience for me, and it was something that I was not aware of. And now that you are touching it, so I will also be looking at doing the minimum viable product, which will eventually lead me to minimum viable branding. Thanks.
But Andile, I want to ask you there, because I remember previously you said that you even considered or you had questions about, building your own drone. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes.
So may I ask, why would you like to go into drone building if your core business is actually information and knowledge about crops and areas and planting and so forth? Why would you worry about drones? Don't you think it's going to be good for you to let the drone people worry about the drones and you worry about the agricultural information that's going to help farmers produce better crops.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much for pointing that out. Yes, I also looked at manufacturing drones, but after I attended this MVP, I realized that no, it's now too broad. It will be too broad for me. So let me keep it on what I initially wanted to do, to share information and also to do farm mapping, not to venture into building, because there are already people
Exactly.
that are in the space of building that have good reputation. So I reconsidered my core business idea.
And I think what is also important is you need to look at the market. So let's say you go now for a minimum viable brand. What is your message going to be? What is it that you're going to offer to the world out there, and how are you going to portray that? Are you going to be the guy? If you're now going to drone building, you're going to get, you're going to essentially then end up selling drones, really. Whereas your core business is about information on planting and harvesting, etc. And then you will also need to look at the market, as in, where's the gap? Why are you spending your time and effort in certain areas? And from what I understood, from what I understand from your business, is that, yeah, it's in agriculture and not in droning.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's what my final decision. That's no, I won't explore the manufacturing of drone, because for starters, I don't have a background in engineering, so it will be something that will waste time and a lot of money. Thanks.
Exactly. No problem. And then obviously, I think, like, as we concluded last time, is that your minimum viable product is information. And you, I think you need to, if you can go to a farmer and you say to them, listen, sir, here's your phases of agriculture, the preparing the land, planting, harvesting, distribution, and here's the various aspects of information that we can provide you with. And all these MVP, more often than not, boils down to making more money for someone or saving them money. And you're probably going to make and save a farmer a lot more money through information that they can't acquire in normally. And I think that's your MVP that you should be focused on and develop iteratively and with through experimentation. And like, I think, like the other guy also said, is like, get out there, experiment, act on it, provide the feedback back into your business, and then grow from there.
Okay. No, just a quick question. Yes, thank you. After my presentation, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, they were very interested on the idea, but they were very clear that they are not in a position to actually fund me to do my project. They are looking for someone that is already they have certification, and also for drone pilots and remote operators license. Then they are interested in rendering those services
Okay.
for their beneficiaries. So yeah, I'm in that position right now. So yeah, I'm looking for funds so that I can work with them.
Okay. Well, one of your key activities in your business model is going to be to operate a drone.
Yes.
And I think, as much as I've just previously said, it's like, in my opinion, I think you should focus on the information part. I think you should also maybe just feel what the market is doing. And if there is a gap for drone pilots, you could use that gap to educate yourself, get yourself up to speed, become that drone pilot, and have more knowledge into a key activity that is going to be part of your business going forward. Just an idea.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure, man. Anything from anyone else? Any questions out there? So I would like to maybe just ask everyone quickly and easy and just off the cuff, just, you know, put it out there, and maybe want to start bottom left on the screen. Tebogo, would you mind just giving us an idea of what you what is the field, what is the branding that you would like your organization to have? I mean, if we look at Kulula, they fun and quirky and witty and so forth. What is it that you would like to see your organization go towards? What's the kind of field that you would like to see for your organization? Tebogo, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute my microphone.
No problem.
In the beginning, we wanted to be like this fun, quirky brand, but then as we started changing our business models and stuff, I basically kind of just got stuck and confused, like, because I've experimented with like so many different models, and yeah. So that's why I haven't even been so active on this thing, because I feel like I'm in a place where I just don't know what I'm even like doing at this point, you know, because I feel like I just need to choose one or two customers maybe there on the customer section and then stick to it, because I've tested. I think at the moment I'm currently experimenting with 3 different revenue models. So I just need to test the subscription fee one, but then I would like to get to a point where I only use one for all my customers.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of stuck now. But I'll work through this thing tonight, and hopefully I'll get a clearer perspective of where I should like go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I think, yeah, and what we gather from that is that you want to have a quirky experience, but also, you know, with running a small business, you have to prioritize, and if you have to prioritize at the moment on your revenue models and specific customer segments, then that's what you need to do, and then I guess you have to put the branding on the back burner. Cool. Thank you so much for that feedback.
Right.
Tebelo, would you like to share anything on your branding and or how you feel or want your organization to be perceived? Tebelo, can you hear me? Are you also not? Are you also speaking into a muted mic? Okay, I'm not sure if Tebelo can hear us. Okay, let's ask Nick. If you want to maybe share a few thoughts on your branding and your organization with us. Oh, and then Nick is gone. Okay. Siatemba, how are you, my friend?
I am good. Thank you very much. How are you?
No, I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, with everything that's been said, do you maybe want to share any experiences from your side? Well, first of all, what's the kind of field that you want for your business, and any other wisdoms or questions from your side of where you are with that at the moment?
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, if I go to MVP instead of MVP.
Yep.
When the video was starting, I was asking myself, when is the right time for an SME to start with the branding and everything? But the guy explained that you can start with a single page maybe of the website, just to put your brand out there. But now, as you go, you get different views in terms of branding. Some will say you don't need, but it depends on the business that you do. But for the business that I'm in, sometimes I see no value, maybe, if I can put it that way, of printing pamphlets, business card can be very important, but pamphlets and some of those marketing collaterals, maybe.
Okay.
We don't need them maybe at this point in time, because we depending on word of mouth. We're depending on going out there to the client and present our business to the client. Now, if I may ask, in terms of a company like ours, yes, if not, maybe let's say 90% of IT businesses, but not small businesses, not SMEs, big corporates, they do have websites. They know what they put, maybe, because a lot of them, I've seen that they have online stores. That is the reason why they have websites, so that they can redirect their clients to the online store, or from the online store to their website. It works for them. But for an SMME, the question will be to you: is it necessary? Is it necessary for an SMME to have, let's say, an IT company? We don't have an online store. We only sell the service. We only sell the service. Do we need the website? That will be the first question.
I would say absolutely. How else will your clients and potential clients know who you are, where to contact you, what you offer?
Okay.
Right. I mean, your website is the go-to thing. I would say website is much more important than a business card. I just want to quickly ask Tebogo. Tebogo wants to maybe add to something over here. Tebogo, you're welcome to add if you like.
No, actually, mine is not related to the website stuff. But then we can let Siathemba.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
We can let Siathemba finish with his.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, Siathemba. So I would say definitely your website's going to be very important. And to bring in your branding stuff would be really valuable. I think it's maybe in the very early stages a little bit of a nice to have to concentrate, on the quirkiness and your copy and your personality, but to have that key information there about your products and services and who you are is definitely very important.
Okay. Thank you. I got that. Now,
no problem.
Going to you said you must empathize with our customers
Yes.
on the Rubik's Cube. Yes, we must empathize with our customers.
Yes.
Doesn't it go back, when we empathize with them, doesn't it go back to us as small companies charging based on charging the client based on empathy? Because you'll say, no, last week they required a service, I charged them 3.5. Maybe I might be doing the same thing that I've done last week. Then let me say I'll charge them 1.5, or I'll charge them 900 instead of sticking to the price. For us, does empathy apply, or does it work do we really need to do it? It might not be in terms of charging, maybe, because I was thinking of, let's say we charge the client, we gather whatever, then we check the profit. Then as we work with schools, we say, okay, let them pick, let's say, 5 learners that we can buy school shoes for, or let them pick 5 learners that we can buy them a uniform. That us giving back to the school. Now, if you can explain or help me with this one, empathizing with our clients.
Okay, I think look, empathy can come in many ways, but I think empathy in design thinking is more about shaping your products and services and understanding your customer's world and understanding that you're making things for them as easy as possible. When it comes to pricing, that's a different story. You need to make up your mind as to what is your cost of sales. What do things cost for you to deliver your products and services? What is a market-related price? And is your value proposition superior to those of your customers, and therefore you can charge the extra 10 or 15%? I think, maybe in times of COVID or other scenarios, you can empathize and drop your price if it's viable for you. But it's all market related. But I wouldn't, when we talk about empathy and specifically in this presentation, it was more around understanding their world and shaping your services and your brand and products around their world, and making their world more easier through your offerings. Not specifically to empathize and then drop your price or have fluctuations in your prices.
Okay. Now you made it clear. And then right. if I may ask for last question, sure. Sorry guys. Right. Let's go to understanding the journey of your client or of your customer. The journey of our customers, I'll say, is the one that makes us undermine the service that you provide, because they will say, I was working with so and so before you came in. Now, if you ask them, what was the reason for you to drop so and so? Then if I check my status, I can see that I'm far below, or I'm far smaller than the person that they were working with, the person that was servicing them. Now, they dropped that person or that particular company to work with me. Then if I ask, why did you drop that company? The first thing will be, they were too expensive. That only automatically tells me that I cannot charge more than what they were charging. I cannot charge maybe what they were charging. So I have to drop my prices. I have to drop, I have to adjust for them so that they can work with me. We can build a relationship. We can start a journey, because their journey didn't work through. Now, in that case, how do I work with it? How do I keep that relationship, even if I'm not, let's say, I'm not making much or more profit with them? Yeah, how do I keep that relationship?
Tyron, is there maybe any insights from your side that you can contribute? I've got some things I want to say, but I think for me, what immediately came up was like budgeting, forecasts, sales pipeline, etc. Do you have any insights for Siyathemba over there?
Yeah, and those are all exactly good things that you're raising. So if you don't understand what it costs you to have your product in front of your client, it's going to be incredibly difficult to actually create a price for it. And I think what a lot of people worry more about is the price of the product instead of getting their clients to understand the value of the product. And that's where the branding element comes in, because we have this in the accounting industry where a lot of people think accounting is a grudge purchase. And because there's no tangible product, you don't see, not like you're planting a tree. So if you can understand the value you bring and the value your product brings, and that is your branding and your message, people understand it better and they have a better outcome. So they're not judging you on price, they're judging you on the value that you offer their business.
Yeah, no, that's a great response.
Okay.
And I think that's a great lesson, is if you can, and this is where marketing and clever copy and branding and stuff comes in, is if you can, like Tyron said, shift someone's focus from the costs of something to more to the value, and that's where the empathizing comes in. Is if you know their world well enough, you're going to know where to push the buttons. That is not going to make them think, you know what, this other company charge $100, but these guys charge $150. But actually, they've made it clear to me in how they deliver the product and service that I can actually justify paying significantly more than what I initially would have paid with the other company, because they've made it evident what the value is that they are delivering. So Siatemba, I think to wrap up is that you need to understand what your pipeline of clients and purchase orders or subscription looks like, and you need to know what your things cost, and then you need to weigh up, or you need to communicate the value that you offer and deliver, and then you also what's the other thing I wanted to mention there? Yeah, I think that's roughly it, and I think then you'll be okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Tebogo, your hand's been up for a while.
No, I just wanted to ask whether it would be such a bad thing to change our name at this stage, just to align it with our current value proposition. Because in the beginning we were an on-demand food delivery service, then we shifted to like B2B kind of thingy. So I don't know, because now we're also a fleet rental company and we rent out bikes to drivers who cannot afford to like purchase their own bikes. So I don't know whether, and they don't all necessarily work at like restaurants and stuff. And we also wanted to diversify our like services as well in the fleet rental industry. So I don't know whether it would be such a bad thing to change the name at this stage, just to align it with the value proposition. Hello?
Sorry. Now I'm on the mic. I'm on the muted mic. So I think for me it would be, as long as I think the name change could be a good idea. If it gets the message across better, then by all means. I think it's just about communicating the change as well and how you manage that. That's going
to. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, Nick, maybe some feedback from your side on branding and where you guys are at the moment.
Sorry, my network keeps dropping off. I'm enjoying Harare at the moment.
Are you in Harare at the moment?
Yes, I am.
Oh, nice. Okay. Should send us some pictures.
All right. I can start for the fixtures of the border where Messina and Bedbridge is basically closed.
Okay.
No,
Cool, man.
I think the brand. I think brands. What I've so far picked up is your brand creation takes a journey whereby, you start with certain vision, and as you go, you start to position yourself based on kind of the responses that you get and all that. But our brand, basically, we're trying to create what I would call a tech savvy kind of shopping, where we're presenting a one-stop shop for the procurement, delivery, and installation of what we call home finishes, your appliances, your electrical, and all that. So we're trying to say those guys who don't want to go through that whole process of having to go to different shops and picking all that, we want to present them with, a fresh, something that is easy to use, that they can just do it.
Okay. And I think that's also a very good one, coming back to
Young,
Tebogo's.
vibrant, and one-stop kind of shop.
Yeah. And I think maybe you can comment on this, and I think this slots in with what Tebogo was saying. So initially you start out with an idea, and obviously I think in the previous sessions I kept on hammering about producing and maintaining the value proposition. Because if you promise people stuff in a certain way, etc., you need to actually deliver on that. And that goes back to operations. That go back to the left side of the business model canvas. So as your business also evolves, your operations become more evolved, and therefore you can't have a brand. If you guys went out to market and said that, okay, we are these tech savvy guys, and we can have a one-stop shop for you to select all your building materials and stuff in a tech savvy way, you would have been putting a false perception out in the market. But now that you've evolved, I'm sure you've got your suppliers more aligned, you've got better systems, you know your business better. Now you can actually go to the next phase, change your branding a bit, change your messaging, because your operations can actually support and deliver that value proposition. Nick, did that make sense?
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, and I think from the first thing that we have started when we started doing, the Rubik's Cube, and looking at it and looking at all how these things interact, it kind of gives us something that we always fall back on, because in our journey of chasing orders and chasing all that, sometimes you lose your focus, and this is where I think the grounding part in what you're saying, to say, as you evolve, you need to be grounded on something that is saying, okay, I want to build my brand to be this, so that it makes sense, so that you don't just end up following where the wind is going.
Yeah. Cool. Makes 100% sense. Okay, guys, I would unfortunately, we have to stop here. I would like to thank you guys so much for your time. It was great to get all your feedback. I hope the session was useful. And if there's any further questions, please feel free to mail us. Siatemba, I know I owe you a reply in your email. I'll get to that, and we'll set up some time. But yeah, if there's not anything else, I'd like to say thank you to you guys. Thank you for the great session.
Thanks a lot, Jean-Pierre. That was very, very informative. Thanks, guys. Hopefully you all walk away with that, and we have a whole bunch of new brands in the next couple of weeks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.